Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today for Financial First Aid. Today's conversation is with Dr. Erin Hudson. She's a proud mom of 5 beautiful children and wife to one incredibly handsome husband. Just the fact that you have 5 kids, I give you kudos. She has run 16 full marathons all over various places around the world. I give you kudos for that too. She loves spending time with her family outdoors and traveling the world. She gives not only her money, but her time to the less fortunate. She's been involved with building orphanages, feeding the poor, providing clean water to villages where there was none. She loves the challenge and thrives when she's presented with one. She was born with an entrepreneurial spirit and has a zest for life and a passion to leave her mark on this wild world. As, as a parent, she's on a mission to change the trajectory of her family's life by, by living and teaching her children financial literacy, living life by design, being incredibly intentional, growing generational wealth so that she can leave a massive legacy. She was, or are you still a chiropractic doctor?
I'm still a chiropractor, just no longer have my practice since I sold.
Okay. In 2009, she opened her first wellness center and the business was a success. Within 12 months, she opened a second office. She worked with 30 team members and at that point, learned the power of duplication. She was able to train 3 doctors, essentially duplicating herself. So in 2017, she was able to work on the business and no longer in the business. In March of 2020, she sold her last practice and she began to focus all of her efforts on her real passion, which is helping build communities and assisting people with creating financial freedom. At this moment, her portfolio consists of managing partner for 104-unit value-add multifamily in Houston, Texas, purchased in May 2019, managing partner for a 30-unit commercial retained in Tallahassee, Florida, purchased in August 2019, managing partner for a 35-unit value-add multifamily in Knoxville, Tennessee, purchased in January 2020, managing partner for 36-unit value-add multifamily in Atlanta, purchased in March 2020, managing partner for 67-unit value-add multifamily in Knoxville, Tennessee, purchased in July 2020. And she just told me that yesterday, they purchased another, 30 unit?
110 units.
110 unit in Decatur. Georgia. Wow, fantastic. Welcome to my podcast. Oh, wow.
Are you kidding me, Vera? It is such a pleasure to be here today. So thank you so much for the invite. I cannot wait to dig in and share with the listeners about how they too can have all it is that they desire in life.
That's great. So the primary focus of your company, well, let's get the name of your company. What's the name of your company?
Yeah, so I have the pleasure, our team is Quattro Capital. Mm-hmm. And I have the pleasure of working with the most incredibly brilliant partners I could ever ask for. And that is why every morning it is such a delight to wake up and I literally want to say, pinch me. Is it really true that I get to work with some of the finest?
Great, that's fantastic. And the focus of your company is?
Yeah, so why we're called Quattro, right? Everybody says, oh, is it 4 people? Well, the truth of the matter is it goes far beyond that. We've got 5 partners, but Quattro is what it stands for is the 4 Ps. So we're all about people and doing good for people by people. We're all about finding the right property that in turn is going to yield great profits for our investors. And then lastly, something that is very important to every single one of us is philanthropy and giving back. Because as you know very well, the law of the land is if we can help others get what they want, naturally, we're going to get what we want. Yep. And there's a lot of people in this world that are hurting that can't even care for themselves. And so our eyes are truly focused on them and helping for the betterment of their life. So
wow, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. I love that 4-part piece to it to explain that. Okay, great. I usually ask my guests this: what motivated you to begin your journey of entrepreneurship? But you're on that mission. You were on that mission ever since you were a child. So tell our listeners about that.
Sure. Perhaps maybe you did live a life like mine. Maybe you didn't, but really a picture of my life was more or less like this. My parents went to work every single day, 9 to 5. They came home. I had exhausted parents, a mom that literally went to her bedroom at night because she was tired and exhausted from working so hard.
Mhm.
So we were the kids that literally lived, our parents lived paycheck to paycheck.
Mhm.
We were the ones that would come home and make dinner for ourselves at night after we got out of our sporting events and so on and so forth. And I remember at a very, very young age thinking, is this really what life's all about? Are we here on this earth to live paycheck to paycheck? Or is there a way for us to be in control of our lives? And at a very young age, I thought, I never want to live my life like this. And bless my parents' heart, they did the best that they could and were incredibly kind, awesome parents. I wouldn't trade them for the world, but they didn't know any different. They were just following that generational curse and the cards they had been dealt and their parents had been dealt and so on and so forth. But I was on a mission, my friend, to break that curse, that generational curse, and to teach my children how to take control and really design their own destiny and their future.
That sounds great. So give us a little bit about your background. How'd you get started?
Sure. So I actually, like Ms. Vera said, doctor of chiropractic, and I started practice. My goodness, I graduated in 2003. I went into practice, and I knew that I wanted to be my own boss. Initially, when I was in college, I wanted to be an OBGYN. And then it just really transitioned. I really wanted to help people. I wanted to have patient A, patient B. I wanted to know their names. And I knew more in the medical field, it was really patient A, patient B. I really loved that I came from sports, and athleticism was really important to me. And chiropractic, I had just had great experiences where I could really maximize every area of my life when it came to sports and events, if I was properly finely tuned in my body. And I could see the difference between the two. Went into chiropractic, absolutely loved it.
Great.
Opened up my second practice, and really just began to flourish and was fun.
Good. Was there ever a time when you kind of felt discouraged or didn't think that going into business was a good fit for you? Did you ever have that time, or did you always just know that this is what you were kind of like designed to do?
Well, I really went into my residency, had little ones, and right away I knew that I wanted to be my own boss, open up my own practice.
Okay,
And
great.
that's really where it began in 2009. And 5 months later, I saw the benefits of opening up my first practice and said, my gosh, honey, I want to open up our second practice. And he said, just wait a bit. We got a big loan on this one. Wait, and then we'll open up the second one. And I said, well, how about we do this? When I can have enough funds to be able to bootstrap it and open the second practice without having to get a loan, then we can pull the trigger and go for it. And he goes, okay, well, that's going to take you probably a year and a half. So when you get there, I'm in agreement on that. And literally, I had just been socking the money away, didn't say anything to him. And 5 months later, I said, I'm ready to go. Let's open up the next practice. And he said, you got to be kidding me. And so it was a matter of getting, bootstrapping, figuring out how we really could do it. And there was so much fruit that came from being a business owner, and really getting to control your own destiny, and really the ball's in your court. And you can run if you want to run, you can walk if you want to walk. And it was just an extremely powerful power play opening that second office.
So after that, kind of what was your next move in terms of moving away from that, but I guess pivoting into the whole real estate financial investment thing? How did that happen?
Well, listen, I always knew that the multimillionaires and billionaires were really made from real estate, right? There was something intriguing about it. And I always wanted to be a part of real estate, but here was the problem. I lived in Southern California, and the cost of buying an investment property, it just didn't make sense in California. And the idea and thought about being an out-of-state landlord was a little bit terrifying. And so it was a matter of surrounding yourself around people that were doing it. And that's what I started to do. And so fast forward, I actually had a business coach that I was working in my practice with. And she said, Erin, you have got to stop. And I said, stop what? And she said, you've got to stop doing the $10 an hour jobs. You need to hire, you need to delegate, and you need to do what you're paid to do, which is the more hourly wage jobs than what I was doing. And so with that being said, it freed up time in my schedule, and I started to have little windows between each patient. And so I said, this is the great time for me to start digging into the real estate space, and decided that I was going to invest in Indianapolis, Indiana. And in 2015, that's where it all began. And within 2 years, I had acquired 26 rental properties.
Wow.
And got a taste of what that true mailbox money was like.
Okay. Okay. And so you had those people you had a property manager there handling that for you?
Correct. Yep. We had property management in place, and that's really what created the magic there. Being an absentee landlord and managing from afar was not anything that I desired. I wasn't looking for another full-time job. I was looking really for the passive income.
Right, exactly, for the financial freedom. Now, your company helps people create financial freedom. So what's the number one kind of piece of advice you can give the listeners about that whole creating financial freedom piece?
Listen, freedom is different for every single person, right? For me, when I think of the word freedom and what freedom is to me, it's freedom of time.
Mm-hmm.
It's freedom to travel wherever you want to travel. It's freedom financially of not being strapped and strained like I saw my parents being.
Right.
It's freedom of time, energy, efforts, wherever you want to go to do whatever you want, whenever you want, right?
Wow.
And so that is really what all individuals should be striving for. Why? Because it feels good to not be at somebody else's mercy. It feels good to know that when you wake up in the morning, your feet hit the ground, you are the one that gets to decide what it is, when you're going to do it, how you're going to do it, and so on and so forth, right? And nothing more than wanting to teach my children that they are in control. And that's what keeps me going to push for that freedom in every area of my entire life.
Wow, that's fantastic. And what would you say to a new entrepreneur, someone who's thinking about it, but they're not sure? Like, what do you think would be the first thing that they need to kind of conquer in order to start their business?
Well, listen, first and foremost, I don't mean to get on a high horse, so I apologize up front, but
That's
I don't,
okay.
but I don't apologize at the same time.
Okay.
We were not put on this earth to settle, be here and settle for mediocrity. We are supposed to have the finest in life. And so many people do not step up and rise up to the occasion. They settle for that bare minimum mentality. Why? Because most people don't think that they're worth it, that they're worthy, that they're valued, that they can have it. And so they're not even willing to try it or even taste it.
Okay.
When you taste it, it is so, it's like a mighty fine wine or like a really great piece of chocolate cake. What do you want? You want more, because it tastes good, but it's empowering to our souls to become an entrepreneur and have the ball be in your court and you call the shots, right? So anyone that's out there that is considering stepping on and putting on this armor of entrepreneurship, are there hardships? Hell yes. Is it hard? Do you have to be hungry? Do you have to be committed? Can you be a giver-upper? Heck no. You are going to have highs and you're going to have lows. And those lows, my friend, are the best price you can pay, because yes, some would call it failure, but we learn so much from those failures to never go there again and never to eat the barf again. Right? So things like that are going to happen, but the wins far outweigh the pitfalls. They just do. If you can muster it up, put on your big girl pants and go all over again, because it's not all rainbows and butterflies, but the wins far surpass the losses. That's
a great segue into the obstacles that you've had to overcome to get to this level of success that you presently enjoy. Just list some of those, because it sounds so wonderful. Like when I read that list of all of the units that you're a part of and all the real estate that you have now and the money that you have coming in, it sounds so beautiful. But give us an example of some of the obstacles that you had to overcome.
Oh, friend, I could seriously write a book. And I say
you probably will.
Who wants to air their dirty laundry, right? But I will tell you, the reason that I'm going to share some of these things with you is because as I just said, it's not all rainbows and butterflies.
Right.
You have to be willing to go through the hardships. But listen, if you do, when those hardships come, if you're looking, there are blessings around that corner, right?
Wow. Mm-hmm.
When you go through those trials, you feel so alone, so lost, and why me, right? But I will share with you some of the hardships that I had. My gosh, in 2010, my husband and I claimed bankruptcy. He was in the mortgage space. I was a stay-at-home mom. We all know what happened. I don't want to say stay-at-home mom, but I was still in chiropractic school and finishing all that up and starting my practice, just getting started actually. And my husband came from the mortgage industry and everything crashed. We all know what happened there.
Yeah.
And we had to claim bankruptcy. And it was rough because they always say when you claim bankruptcy, just for the next 5 years, you're not going to be able to do much, right? So it was a painful lesson. But let me tell you, again, we look for the blessings in that. Yes. Thank goodness we got a do-over, right? Just as the Bible says that we can have a do-over, right? You better not make that a regular occurrence, but look, we're getting a do-over. And from there on out, it was so important to us to properly prepare, to have multiple streams of income. Right. It really just buoyed us up to know that we are never going to find ourselves in that place again because it's painful and it's hard. And I don't ever wish for anyone to have to go through that. But if you have, just know that you're okay. You're going to make it through. You will climb out of that pit and you will move on to greater and something better, right? So that is one hiccup we had that was rough. As we moved into the into the single family space, I will tell you, I had something really bad that had happened to me. And this is my first time even sharing it because it was so hard to come through. Okay. I literally, as we created Rewind, I had acquired 26 rental properties. Along that way, about 12 months in, we had other friends and family that said, hey, we want to get into the market as well. And so my husband and I created a turnkey company where within 3 years, we did a little over 230 buy and sell transactions.
Wow, fantastic.
Along that way, my friend, we had a title company that we were working with and we had done a few transactions with. Long story short, I had 3 buyers that were closing the same day on these properties to the tune of $107,000. Okay. So they send and they wire their money to the title company and 2 days goes by and I still have not gotten my funds wired into my account. And so I had reached out to the title company and they said, oh, we had a little hiccup, but it'll be on its way. Long story short, it was a total embezzlement. It ended up being a fraudulent title company that I had been turned on to, right? So I never thought that I needed to go trust and, it's one thing to trust, another to verify. I didn't ever think I needed to do that with the title company. I'd already closed other business with them.
Right.
Long story short, it was a fraudulent company. I lost $107,000. Let me tell you something. That was so extremely painful. But we go through trials like this. You have got to be the one that stays on top and does the right thing. And let me tell you, those 3 people that bought those houses, I never got the funds for them. So in essence, I really truly could have taken those 3 homes and just kept them for myself because I never got the funds paid to me, right?
Right.
But listen, we always do the right thing. I was not going to make my 3 investors suffer and say they lost their money. So you know what I did? I had already paid for those 3 homes. I gave each one of those 3 investors a home and I never said a word about it to any of them.
Why? Really? They didn't know?
Issue. What's that?
They didn't know? They never knew?
They never knew. Why? Because I did the right thing. And talk about doing the right thing for people, by people. Everything, right? And so I granted them those homes, even though I never got paid, right? So that was one hardship, big hardship that I went through. That was a tough nut to swallow. There was a lot of self-talk and frustration, and I was upset and I was mad. So again, these are just some of the things that happen in business. I had another one where one of my investors the water got turned on and flooded the whole entire house. Yes, that was my investor. That was my investor's fault or issue, right? But I took it upon myself. Why? Because my investors are my family and friends. Like I treat them like they are family, even though they're not family, right? So their hurt is my hurt. So things like that do happen. And again, it's not all rainbows and butterflies, but the wins far outweigh those trials, is what I will say.
Great. So what are some steps right now that our listeners can take to accelerate their growth and maximize their finances? Like what little things can they start doing to move towards this financial freedom?
Well, it depends. If your listeners are looking for something that's really passive for them to create financial freedom, obviously real estate all the way. There's no doubt about it. But the best number one investment one can make is in themselves. To train, because what I have found the most powerful thing that we have, each one of us, is the thing that resides between our two ears, our head.
Our mindset.
What kind of self-talk are you having?
Okay.
Each one of you listeners, what kind of story are you putting in your own head? Because here's the truth of the matter. Every single morning we get up, we all fight the same battle. In our heads, we hear that we're a weak suck, that we can't do it, that we're not going to win today, that we're a loser, whatever it is. We're all human, and I don't care who you are, those negative thoughts pop in your head, that you're a crappy mom, that you're not smart, that, come on, am I talking to anyone right now? I am.
Yes,
so
you
let
are.
me tell you something, Miss Vera. Every single morning I wake up, and guess what it is? I have to remind myself and literally have my self-talk in the morning. That I am worthy, that I am brilliant, that I am beautifully and wonderfully made, that he loves me, that I'm a winner, that I'm an incredible mom. Because guess what? If we're not telling ourselves this, I can assure you one thing, nobody else is out there cheering.
That's true.
It's the world we live in. And guess what? What you conceive and you believe, as you've heard, you will achieve. So what are you feeding? Is it negative thoughts or is it positive, good thoughts, so that you can walk out, be a light on a hill, and be that intelligent one that makes massive moves and take others along for the ride?
Wow, that's great. That's great. I love it. So if nothing else, the first thing that they can do is begin to do these self-conversations saying, I'm great, I'm supposed to be here, I'm supposed to be doing this, whatever this thing is that they're doing.
Sure.
Okay, sounds good. I love that.
The other thing that I would highly recommend.
Okay.
Every morning, the other thing I do is I wake up every morning and I write my thankfuls. I write 5 things that I'm thankful for every single morning.
Okay. Why? You have a journal, a gratitude journal.
A gratitude journal.
Okay.
And I take it even one step further and I write down 5 things that I am grateful and thankful about for my husband. Okay. Why? Because we get so caught up in the monotony. At times we forget our spouses and we forget to encourage them and all the things that we appreciate about them, right?
True.
So I struggle with that. So I have to put that on the forefront and make sure that I make that a priority. And does my husband come in my office and sneak in my book and look to see what I've written about? Of course he does. And does it make him feel good? Absolutely.
That's true. That's true. So, I love it. That's great.
Yeah. It's really just about getting your head right and walking out. And if we are thankful in the morning and we plan our day right on what we want to accomplish, what we're thankful for, the trajectory of the day is going to go much finer, right?
Okay.
Because of where we set our mind first thing in the morning.
Okay. Now that kind of leads me into my last question. I always like to leave my listeners with 3 takeaways from my episodes. So what are your 3 takeaways for my listeners that you can share with them? Number 1, I think the number 1 is the mindset at the beginning of the day.
Yep.
That gratitude journal. That's a great number 1. And then what are 2 more things?
Sure. So I would say if you are in the position to invest into real estate, let's just say that you've already got your other job or your other business or company or entrepreneurial over there, you again will have freedom if you have multiple streams of income coming in. Okay. So what if you could invest into multifamily and you did not have to do any of the operations? It was a set it and forget it. And you could work with an intelligent, powerful team per se that could double your money in 5 years. Is that something that would be appealing to you?
Mhm.
Because that's exactly what Quattro Capital does, is we want to help empower an individual create an additional stream of income. And here's the thing, many people don't know this. You do not have to have $50,000 in your bank account in order to invest. You could certainly use a Roth IRA, an IRA, a 401k. Perhaps you no longer work for a company and you've moved it into a Schwab account. You can take that money and invest it into real estate, which is a whole nother conversation. But I will tell you, when you get in this space and you start to create passive income for yourself, there is something that comes along, which is confidence. You have this confidence and you exude this demeanor that one would die for. You have a little bit more courage. You have a little bit better self-esteem. You feel like you're planning and you're preparing properly. And that's what it's about. It's about empowering you and helping you to prepare for your future, leave a legacy, and be properly positioned when you do retirement, when you do retire, right?
Okay.
That's what we help our people with. Number 3, as Vera talked about it, entrepreneurship. Do not delay. Figure out what it is. Do you have to be passionate about what it is that you do as that additional side gig or a stream of income? Let me tell you something. You do not have to. Perhaps it's a vehicle to get you where you truly want to go, right? So entrepreneurship, going back to that, I highly recommend, if you have an opportunity to jump in the game and get out of the 9 to 5. I'm not telling you to get out of that 9 to 5 right now by any stretch, until that side gig or that entrepreneurial move that you made can replace the income that you're currently earning, right? Don't hop off the train too early. And I feel like I see that quite a bit, especially even in the multifamily space. People think that it's going to rain money, and it takes some time to build it up. So you got to properly position yourself and be prepared. Most definitely.
Wow. So lastly, just let our listeners know how they can get in touch with you, what platforms you're on, and what they need to do to reach out and get more information about your company.
Sure, absolutely. Well, listen, I would love to connect with you, even just as a friend to friend, and you need some advice. We're all here again to help one another to grow in life and become better. So for that, I truly say, if you just need a little pick me up or some love or some insight, I am so happy to connect with you, truly. And the best way to get a hold of me is go to www.thequattroway, and that's 2 T's, QUATTRO way.com. And you can actually learn about my team, who I talked about, brilliant partners that I've got. We've got videos of each of us so that you get to know us with this short little video. But if you do want to connect, go to my page. You'll see book an appointment now. And I would love to jump on a call with you and share with you how together possibly I can help you achieve those goals that you're looking for in life.
Sounds great. I love it. Listen, thank you so much for your time and your energy that you bring. You just really, I love it. You're so excited, and it's great because I think people really feed off of that. And it's just been a pleasure. I enjoyed the first time when I spoke with you, and this time I got a chance to actually record this. I'll get a chance to hear it again and see it again. Thank you so much, Erin Hudson from Quattro Way, from Quattro Capital. You guys keep doing what you're doing, and hopefully I'll be able to invest with you guys soon and make my retirement a little easier.
Absolutely. You have a mighty fine day, and thanks so much for having me, Miss Vera.
Thank you. Take care, Erin. Talk to you soon.
You too.